Our reporter Mark Kimondo managed to interact with some of the victims who narrated their ordeals at the chambers.
Mtu alikuwa anawekwa peke yake. Hakuna mtu alikuwa unaonana na mwingine. Mimi hata sikuona. Ule mtu niliona tu ni Rumba Kenothia.
Victims of the Nyayo torture today gathered at the Nyayo house to commemorate the 16th anniversary of the opening of the torture chambers. The victims who lamented the unfair treatment by alleged government now want the chambers to be turned into shrines. The alleged victims who recalled the experience said it was the toughest moments as they voiced their demands to the government.
For the days that I stayed in Nyayo torture chambers, when I was arrested from the offices where I was working, where I had served only for 3 months while I was still under probation, they came and picked me from there, took me to Kileleshwa, stayed there till 6:30 in the evening, from where I was removed, put in a Land Rover, blindfolded, made to lie on my back, where I was driven for time on end, round and round for hours. Finally, I ended up where I was put in a cell. And in that cell, on the first day, it was a cell which had no air, no breathing, nothing. It forced me to go on my tummy to try and grasp a bit of air from under the door. Then I slept there until the following day when I was removed, put in a lift, blindfolded again, taken to the last floor of the building, where I appeared before a panel of 9 people who started throwing questions for me to tell them why I was taken there. Said, I don't know.
According to the torture survivors who gathered at the Nyayo house, the experience inside the chamber house was unbearable, with the rooms filled with water, leaving the health of the victims at risk. James Wagara was arrested and detained in 1990s in the claims that he was an ally of politician Koigi Wamwere, who was one of the biggest critics of the government. He was severely tortured and denied food for days.
Unaona hizi pipes ni za kuleta hizi. Hii ni ya kuleta hewa huko ndani. Kwa hizo room. Hiyo room ukifungiwa, hata saa hii ukifungiwa namna hiyo, sijui kama ilikuwa inafungwa na stima kwa ajili maji ilikuwa inakuja mpaka hapo. Na uko unji inakufika maji. Hiyo kalumu ukiweka maji ilikuwa inatolewa inakufika hapa. Huwezi lala unakaa hivi. Kwa sababu unaona hiyo mlango venye iko. Hiyo mlango ni kama ya mochari.
Where I'm standing right now is the room that was used to control temperature, and just opposite me are the water pipes that were used to transfer water all the way from this control room to the chamber houses. These are some of the pipes, and this is the main tap that was used to transfer water all the way from this particular control room to the chamber houses just opposite to this particular control room. Rose Wangu's husband, who died in 2005, is one of the Kenyans who faced the rough side of the small chambers that were constructed in the basement of Nyayo House. His husband was arrested and confined by unknown men and taken in for interrogation.
He was said to have been a part of the movement that was opposing the government, and it was a clandestine movement, they said, called Mwakenya. Yes, and Mwakenya was a group. What? Yes, it was a clandestine movement in the sense that it wasn't registered, but it was also opposing the government and the way it was running, and the bad things that were happening then in the Moi regime.
The rooms were very dark to a point that many of the survivors had a visual challenge after their release from the chambers.
In fact, I was jailed in 1982 because of the alleged coup attempt. And I was a student leader. I was the Secretary General of the University Students Association. My chairman was Tito Adugosi. And we were arrested and taken to prison. I was jailed for 6 years. I came out in 1988. And then March 1988, that's when the time I was released. And in September, the same year, they came for me and they arrested me and brought me here. And I stayed here for 47 days.
The survivors are now calling for the government to convert the chambers into shrines, a repeal order for legal notice number 11 for February 1991. The survivors are also calling for compensation, but the government, as several have stayed for decades without compensation.
The government needs to do something so that they see that this justice has been seen to be done. Not just to me, but to so many women who are still suffering. There are those who are really so, they were just left, they are so poverty stricken. They have nobody to take care of them. And so the government really needs to take care of this issue.
In these chambers where anybody who was found to go against Daniel Toretich Arap Moi was brought and tortured seriously, according to a number of them who have testified the experience today, it is better hell than here. Mark Kimondo for Hope TV, Nairobi.